Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, hope you're all fine. So, after learning how to step your sewing machine without any fabric or without any paper, then you learn the tape measure. So, this tape measure has 60 inches. Are you together? These are the 60 inches. So, tape measures have 60 inches, apart from those ones that go above 60, like 70, 75. So this tape measure has a meter. We have a meter here, and a meter is 40 inches. A meter is always 40 inches. Are you seeing? Here are the 40 inches. So a meter always has 40 inches. And when you talk about half a meter, we mean 20 inches. So you get a tape measure, you look for where 20 inches are. All together. When you talk about 1 meter and a half, that means 1 meter, which is 40 inches, plus 20 inches, which is 60 inches. All together, which is 60 inches. So when they tell you to measure 1 meter and a half, you have to measure 60 inches. When they tell you to measure a meter, you measure 40 inches. When they tell you to measure half a meter, you measure 20 inches. When they tell you to measure a meter, you measure 40 inches. All together. Yes. So some people measure yards. There's what we call yards. Yards are always 36 inches. All together are always 36 inches. And yards are always measured in bitenji. We know bitenji. And these exotic fabrics, they are always measured in meters. But for bitenji, they are measured in yards. However, you may find some people measuring these exotic fabrics like heavy, among other fabrics, poplin, which is tetron. They measure. Some people measure in yards. So they measure in yards. That means that they measure 36 inches. But a meter is always at 40 inches. What does it mean? A meter is longer than or is bigger than a yard by 4 inches. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. All together. So a meter is longer than a yard by 4 inches. All together. Another thing, you find that some people measure in centimeters. You may get measurements in centimeters, and these are the centimeters. These below are the centimeters, and up are the inches. So when you get measurements which are in centimeters, what you have to do is to read those measurements in centimeters. For example, if the bust is 21, the chest is 21. Mainly 21 is always for kids. If the bust is they are telling you that is 53, as you are seeing here. If it is 53, you just turn it and you see what is there. It is 21 altogether. So you convert the centimeters into inches, inshallah. So from that, we shall be seeing how to take measurements on a brown paper. Yes, so we are going to measure our fabric. We are going to measure we are going to measure this paper. The reason as why we are going to measure, we are going to first use papers in order so that we don't waste material. After grasping or after learning how to make straight lines in a paper, then we shall go on to fabrics. So we are going to use a 10 by 10 inch paper. Altogether 10 by 10 inch paper. So you measure 10 inches from here up to where they may stop. They stopped here, 10 inches. Then you also measure this side, also 10 inches. All together. So you draw a straight line. Yes, so we've cut papers of 10 by 10 inches all together, of 10 by 10 inches. So what you're going to do, you're going to draw lines in this paper. You may give them a space interval, maybe 1 inch, like this. all together. You can draw 1 inch. You can also make zigzag lines all together. You see that zigzag. We can also make circle lines or circular lines. For example, you do like this. All together. And you have to make stitch holes into them. So here we are. We have vertical lines and horizontal lines. All together. Have vertical lines and horizontal lines. We have zigzag lines. We also have the circular lines. These help us to be familiar with sewing, or with using the sewing machine to make lines, curving lines, zigzag lines, and straight lines. So we are going on to the sewing machine to make holes using stitches into these papers. Naam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I've got my paper. We've drawn vertical lines and horizontal lines. So I'm going to start stepping. Since we had learned how to step the sewing machine, I'm going to start stepping, making holes of stitches into this paper without any thread. All together. When I reach there, I turn it. You put your needle. You make your needle remain down. You make your needle remain down. Then you move to this direction. All together. When you're about to reach any joint, you put your needle down, then you lift this, you lift the footer, you move to this direction, put it back, move to this direction. All together. I also do the zigzag. I pass in the zigzag lines. As you see, you stop, you touch your wheel and it stops. Make sure that the needle remains into the paper. Lift here, turn it this side, put back, you sew. You touch on your wheel. When you touch on your wheel, it will stop. Then you change here. You see, you change. Make sure the needle is into the paper, and then you continue sewing. You touch your wheel, you stop it, turn this side. So we are also going to sew this circle, but when you're sewing the circle, it's better you begin on the bigger circles. All together, you begin on the bigger circles. By the time you reach in the center, you would have maybe got the experience of sewing round. All together. You pass in that line. Make sure you pass in that line. Try to be careful and pass in that line. So when you reach in parts or in areas where it is too complex like this, you rather move your sewing machine or your stitches using the hand wheel. All together, using the hand wheel like this. So when you reach those complex areas, you touch your wheel, you move it, making stitch by stitch, stitch by stitch. So after making our stitches in papers, here we go, they look like this. You see, they look like that. We are trying to follow those straight lines, both the vertical and the horizontal. So here, this is our zigzagger. These are our zigzagger lines. This is how it appeared. Are you seeing? So, and these are the circles. And we said when you reach complex areas like this one, you have to use to touch your sewing machine or to touch your sewing wheel and move slowly without stepping, but moving the sewing wheel. All together.